to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, in your own narrative, in your own story, beloveds, because right now, we have moved into the one world government, and the people, the powers that be, the people who have been the architects behind this false reality have worked for hundreds of years, multi-generational plan. It didn't just start with them. In some cases, like good old William, it started with their grandparents, their great-great-grandparents. It started with eugenists in freaking Germany, beloveds. It is something that has been rolled out systematically, and we are now in the one world government. And it's so clear to see. I mean, in the last year, with it started with the lockdowns. That was like the first global mandate that was given by this New World Order government. And the thing is, none of us know who's the president of this government, who are the ministers, how are they operating. And it's just funny to see how they're giving instructions to all presidents. It's like they're sending out press releases. Okay, now, give the bite to all your government employees. And we see that rolled out in country after country. Some people rebel, some people revolutionize, some people, like here in Kenya, it was just announced that everyone who works for the government has to get it if they want to keep their job, or they will face disciplinary action. And there is a disclaimer that most people don't realize, because this whole situation has been taken to court at the international level and in many local countries. So, if you stick by your convictions, you may just get that job back. But many people aren't ready. And, many people don't realize that we are in this one world government. Your government is not in control anymore. You can't be like, I voted them in, I can vote them out. It's not about that anymore. And I saw it with how, many African countries, this is where the debt, the borrowing that we've taken is going to come and bite us, beloveds, in the behind. Because now our governments have to bow, and you can see those presidents that didn't bow have been taken out. It's a one world government. You bow or you're taken out. And now I've seen it, especially when you look at like how they're now rolling out. So now they're saying government employees, and it's like what Africa needs, because Africa is kind of caught like this ain't happening here. Because you see, for us, we've been in curfew. We've not been locked down. I think it's only Nairobi that was locked down, or like some major cities. I don't know, I think across Africa, only a few countries have actually managed to lock down. So this whole situation is actually catching a lot of Africans by surprise. We're like, ooh, Europe, you can't shop without the jab, but little do they know that is rolling down the pike here to Africa. People say, how will that be implemented? Of course, there's corruption everywhere. There's more corruption in Africa. So really, will your local mama mboga, that's what we call her, the mother that sells you your local vegetables, etc., will she really be monitoring, whether or not you've got the jab, or where you get your main groceries? People aren't on that high level. So this is almost targeting like the middle and upper class in Africa. And then they're rolling it down to the people that work for them and and implementing it. And this is what Babylon planned. They just have to implement at the top of the pyramid, and then it just trickles down and everyone does their bit. Because I was being told, the British Army has demanded all the Kenyan staff that work for them get the shot, whether you like it or not, or you lose your job. And most people were caught unaware. So they were like, oh my gosh, I have no, the excuses people give. I don't have any other job. The jobs are hard to find in Africa. I'm so grateful for this one. What will my family eat? Blah, blah, blah. That's why, beloveds, over a year ago, we started to highly encourage you to get out of the Babylon system, get into self-sustainability, That's the only way. Self sustainability is the only way you can have true sovereignty at such a time as this. And true sovereignty means getting out of the way of Babylon, beloveds, but also watching who is falling for Babylon because they could become potential future enemies, sad to say. But we are now literally in a one world government. Every country is implementing the same thing. And it's not just about health. Health happens to be the excuse because now they were talking about, having global climate change lockdowns, if that would be possible, et cetera, et cetera. And the sad thing is, many Africans, I don't know, tell me, where you are in Africa, if it's the same thing. But what I'm noticing, many Kenyans are totally ignorant of the fact that this was going to happen. They're totally ignorant of the fact that tomorrow you may be told you can't go to your bank, you can't go to the major supermarkets, you can't even go and get your ID at the government without it. Those are the levels now that we are approaching. But many Africans are totally unaware. I mean, so what should we be doing now as a collective, especially for my, globally beloveds? If you haven't started stocking up, stock up now. If you've been stocking up, continue to stock up. Continue to have that extra food, that extra water. Make sure that, and enough food to transition you to growing in your own stuff. I hope you're out of the cities because that's where this is going to bite the hardest. Get all your necessary documentation today, beloveds. Don't wait for tomorrow. All your necessary documentation. If your passport has expired, renew it as quickly as possible. If your ID has expired, renew it. Get everything, although now they have the biometric, or decide to live without it. But anything that you would need from the Babylon system, get it as quickly as you can. Because that will be one of the ways they do it. You can also set up online banking where you can get money out. I don't know if they're going to how that's going to happen. Do people even still physically go to the bank? But it's important to have cash on hand. Because what if you wake up tomorrow and you can't access your money unless you get it? You see, these are the ways. You won't be forced, but you'll be forced, So move wisely in this time. Now, if you look at like mainstream media, they're talking about, global famine because of everything that happened in 2020 with the lockdowns, et cetera, engineered, beloveds. Engineered. It's so wicked. So make sure that you get out of the way of what Babylon is trying to do to save itself. You secure your family by self-sustainability. If you have land, you should be growing on it right now. Some have the means to go get land, to even hire people to start cultivating it and growing different foods. That's where your money should be. Get a generator, get all, because power cuts are going to become even more real. Although in Africa, we're kind of already set up for many of these things. But I don't think people realize, because they hold on to their jobs so much, I don't think people realize how they're going to be manipulated into doing something that may be against their own will. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. Special shout out to every single person that supports us on Patreon and our Patreon family. There are about 10 shows ahead, and there's so many other things we share on there that we can't share on these public platforms. Thanks to everyone that also donates to us through PayPal. We do send a gift in the mail. If you haven't gotten it yet, it's definitely, check your inbox. Today we're talking about, the new world government. It's already here, beloveds. The one world government. Every president, whether it's Merkel in Germany or Uhuru Kenyatta here in Kenya or freaking Ramaphosa in South Africa, they are all reading off the same script. And, you can try and say it's this organization or it's that organization, but it's much deeper than that. There is an agenda that's being rolled out. And unfortunately, many Africans think, it's just going to end with curfew and everything's going to be all right. But that's not how, it's like our president came and said nothing would be made mandatory 3 months ago. And then 2 days ago, there wasn't even a press release. It was a circular that was released saying all government officials now have to get it. There is an agenda being rolled out. Babylon is everywhere, mainly in the cities. So you have to continuously be more self-sustaining, beloveds. Think, what do I need from Babylon? And try and turn that into something that you can give to yourself, you can supply to yourself. That's one of the reasons I'm really grateful for my dietary changes. The fact that now I'm, vegetarian, vegan, whatever. Because almost 80% of my food is coming from my farm, beloveds. And that's just within 1 year. The main things I eat. And it's also making me feel great to know what, I'm not spraying it, it's 100% organic, etc., etc. That's what I did in 1 year. And that's the advantage of being in Mama Africa, beloveds. And I keep saying, if you have the means, or if you even have some idle land sitting there, you are just wasting your blessings. Find a way to start growing your own vegetables. If you don't have the means, especially the youth who have contacted me from like Soweto and, Kibera, etc., saying, how are we supposed to do this? First of all, there's ways that you can, I know you all have internet, but there's ways that you can also start to grow some of those things within your homes. Like you can grow tomatoes in those empty Coke bottles, empty, not a free plug, but empty plastic bottles, etc., etc. You can at least grow your basics, your skuma wiki, your spinach, your kale, so that you can at least have that. And also look into creating a community garden. No matter where you are, beloveds, where there's a will, there's a way. Even if it's not a community garden, like because you're in a shanty town and everything has been taken up, you can use rooftops, you can use sidewalks. I mean, get creative, because these are the ways that food is going to become a weapon, as is water, as is communication. And now we can know what's coming by looking at the forerunners. And you see, they're first implementing it in their own Babylon. So if you want to know what's coming to Africa, Asia, Latin America, look at what's happening in Europe, look at what's happening in the divided states. One disturbing thing that happened here in Kenya is that our president went to visit the British government at such a time as this. Why? And he was actually told that the British military would give Kenya technical assistance in rolling out the snake bite for everyone. What do you think that means, beloveds? I mean, stop being naive. You don't think some army man is going to come knock on your door and try and convince you to take it? Better get ready, man, and woman, and child. And it's more important to prepare yourself mentally so that when this happens, you're not in a panic, because you're weak when you're responding from panic. You see, like so many people have been blowing the whistle. So many people have been, sounding the alarm. And we've gotten so much ridicule, us conspiracy theorists. And it's only now when people are like, oh my God, you were talking about this a year ago. I have to take it. What do I do? But a year ago, you thought I was just exaggerating things. So prepare yourself, beloveds, because if you're not prepared, that's how you get got. We are in a world government, so everything there are orders from above for every president. And it's not only the presidents in Africa, it's the whole world who are being given instructions. Literally, if you could look at what the health ministries and health ministers are doing in every country, just random, pick like 3 random countries and do like press release from Minister of Health Kenya, press release from Minister of Health India, and look at the code. Look at the language that's being used. The takeover is here, beloveds. And the spiritual war has reached this level now. So get out of the way, become as self-sustainable as possible. Look at what you would not need from your, from your governments. I hope you've already planned for your children's education so they don't have to go back to the school system when schools reopen. Be wise, beloveds. Be wise, but don't move in fear. Move in peace, because knowledge is power. The fact that you know means that everything changes for you and your family. It's that simple. The fact that you know, it changes. It changes absolutely everything. Tuko pamoja.